Hey everyone, Dylan13 here, and what the hell is this? This is not a WWE video. That's right, I unfortunately wasn't able to watch Raw today. I went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy. A little late, I know, but it's actually... Okay, truth be told, it's my second time watching the movie, but my sister was wondering if I wanted to see the movie with her again, or with her. I'm like, I'm not gonna say no. That movie was fantastic. Like, in terms of spoilers, or not, or spoiler free review, if you care about that type of stuff, go see this movie. If you saw the original one, you'll like this one. It's not as good as the original one, but at the same time, it's like comparing not Transformers, Avengers 1 and Avengers 2. They're two totally different stories. They're both great in their own respect. I personally like the first one. I think was retroactively like the best of the second series, or the second phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was the one that had the most to prove, and they did its job perfectly. I personally liked it. This one as well. Great action, great characters, or fantastic music like the last one had, and overall, like, the story was its own separate thing. Everything about it worked. So, with that in mind, let's get to some spoilers, because I got a little bit of stuff to say about this movie. Like, first off, the I can't remember what they're called now. Like the main villain or villains of this movie. They are I like them, but I don't like them. If that makes any sense. Like, they are every bit the rich kid in school that gets pissed off when they don't get something they like. And it's actually really kind of funny because the beginning of the movie actually very 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 smartly, like, it sets up what is going on in the very beginning, and most of the stuff is just stuff we've seen in the trailer, like, or the scene of Drax jumping into that alien's mouth and cutting it, or trying to cut from the inside. Like, that made, like, the major stuff was in the trailer, but it didn't deter from anything because of how they did it. Um, Basically, the Guardians are hired by this group of gold-skinned people that are, like, they are very high on themselves. They, like I said, they think of themselves as better than everybody. Like, they've advanced beyond everything. Like, their warriors are bred to be warriors. Their scientists are bred to be scientists. Their queen is bred to be the queen and all that. And I'm like, okay, I can already see that this is gonna get turned on its head because of the Guardians movie, and it did in glorious fashion. The Guardians like hire are hired by these guys to save a bat or to save, like, a generator that has a bunch of batteries on their or on it that are worth I think they said like half a million of the whatever credits they use in the Guardians universe or galaxy, or in that galaxy, like, their currency, it is worth, like, I think they said half a million apiece. And the monster that they're fighting in the trailer, that they fight in the beginning of the movie, apparently wants to eat the powers, or the batteries, because that's like a power source. It's a power consuming monster or something like that. And so they hire him to get it, and the sets up the movie, and or what overall sets up the plot is Rocket steals some of the batteries. Like, he felt that these guys were assholes in his own, or his in his own special way of saying it. So he stole a bunch of their batteries. and they so they have to go and they have to get away from these guys, which leads the Ravengers, led by or the well, Yondu's or crew of exiled Ravengers, because at this point Yondu is no longer a official Ravenger. He's excommunicated by Sylvester Stallone, which it's kind of funny to see Sylvester Stallone as an alien. I know I'm not making any sense right now. I'm not gonna do a like a like a Mania video. I gotta stop doing that. I'm so used to reviewing like that or recapping like that. But anyway, this movie was great. The the cast, I'll just start I won't spoil it too much. I'll say the basic plot and all that. The main thing that I liked about it is, again, like I said, the cast. All our established characters are fantastic. There's a lot of emphasis on three people in the group, and I really liked it. Like three people in the group we saw from the last movie. That's Rocket. That is, or Yondu, and Nebula, with a slight extension to Gamora because they are sisters. That actually plays into it. Like, we actually fully understand now why Nebula is so hates Gamora so much, and why she's trying to kill her all the time is because Nebula feels that because Gamora's inability not inability, but more her selfishness and her desire to win above all else stripped Nebula of her body, because every time she lost, Thanos would actually would replace a part of her with a mechanical part, so that's why she's more machine than what she originally was. Which makes a lot of sense in terms of this. It establishes why they hate each other. Is because not because of jealousy, but because of the fact that all Gamora wanted was to win. All Nebula wanted was a sister. She didn't want this life. She was pushed into this life by Thanos. So this is actually this is probably the best one of the best subplots in the movie. The other subplot was Rocket, basically fitting Rocket, how Rocket fits in the group, what his motivation is, and the revelation of him and Yondu that they are more alike than any other character. Their personalities are almost parallel to each other. They both feel like they are alone, and they have friends, sure, but they don't have that emphasis, that feeling that feeling of acceptance from the other people. They're either accepted because in the case of Yondu, he is the captain, so they have to respect him. Or in Rocket's case, and the more sad one, it's just a mean, or that the other Guardians, although they are friends with him, they just they feel he felt at the beginning, I guess, that, at least what I interpreted, he felt that they would use him as a means to an end, because he was the weapons guy. He was the guy that could get, or that if you needed something blown up or you needed a trap set, he could do it. Now I'm going to talk about the main plot, which the main plot of the story, as was last time, was all about Peter. And this is basically about him meeting his father, Ego, the living planet. This is this has the potential to be one of the best, or the best told version of the you're not, or your father is not who, or is not who you're related to, is who raised you type storylines that movies like using. It's been done to death for or for over a, like since movies have begun, or since movies have started being made. People have done this storyline. Like the heck, Yondu even says the classic line, "I or he may be your father, but I'm the or but he wasn't your daddy." Like I'm like that, or like everything that he did in the first movie now kind of makes sense in a way, and it works a little bit. The uh the casting of Kurt Russell was perfect. Mike, you needed someone when you're talking about a character like this. He wanted, like, he wants everything to be him, and when everything is him, that is his purpose, to give everything, or to make it where he is, where everything is ego. I'm like I said, we've seen this plot so many times before, but you need, like, to make that plot work, you need the charismatic villain, or the charismatic guy, the guy that could easily be a hero as well as a villain. And it's Kurt Russell. Like, you like this guy as soon as you see him. And for God's sake, like, I don't know if it was just the fact that it was just the makeup, or the fact that it is look alike, but Kurt Russell actually could, or he actually looks like Chris Pratt's dad. It is scary. Like, they could actually be related in real life, and we would not, or and we would completely buy it. The dynamic between the two is fantastic. Like, they bounce off each other, like, and for a while, like, you're like, maybe they're not doing like the Liar reveal type storyline, or they're not doing what we think or what we know is going to happen, and maybe it's just like they're fine, like he's going to have to choose between living with his father, or being with the or with his or with his friends, who essentially are his real family. Being with the family you're born with versus being with the family you gain. And that's what I thought was going for a while. Like, it tricked me. Like, I didn't think it was going to be the, oh well, I'm sorry. I'm kind of using you, but we're cool, right? Because I'm your dad, and you have to do what I say because I'm your dad, and I'm Kurt Russell. I'm good. I don't know why I went like this, but I did. It's like he actually like, one of the things that he actually said, or Chris Pratt says in the movie, which was actually given or brought into fruition, was he's talking to Gamora, and he's like, you know what I wanted to do when I was a kid so often? I wanted to just go out and play catch with my father. I never got that as a kid. And later on, like, he makes, like, Ego's teaching him how to use the power of the planet, like the power that is laid dormant in him, and and Peter makes a ball in his hand, and he throws it to Ego, and Ego catches it, throws it back to him. The whole theater was dying at this point because of how beautiful and how kind of apropos it was that he wanted to, for the longest time, just play catch with his father, and that's exactly what happens. He just, like, you see him with a big smile on his face, he's throwing the ball, and Ego smiling, and he's throwing the ball back at him, and it's like they're giving that bonding moment. It's really kind of, it's kind of adorable, actually. And yeah, like, it was a great or character dynamic. The guy who stole the show, that I thought wasn't, or that I knew was going to be good, but I didn't know he was going to be this good, was Drax. Which, it makes sense in hindsight. Like, again with the second viewing, it makes even more sense. With Ronan being destroyed, Drax has fulfilled his goal, so he can be a little bit more. He doesn't have to be as serious as he was in the first movie. And that personality that he had in him is shining out a lot more. He's a lot more, or he's a lot happier. He's laughing a lot more. He he's throwing out a lot more of his own brand of humor, which while very dry is amazingly hilarious. Like every line that he says is just so sincere because one that's how his character is. He doesn't have the ability to talk about metaphors or anything. So he's very strict or very says what he means. But his delivery is fantastic. Like the scene that they show in the trailer of Mantis, the new who turns out to be Ego's assistant, putting her hand on Peter's hands and publicly stating that he has sexual love for Gamora. He just looks so happy to have heard that, and it's such a you could tell Dave Bautista is having such a fun time playing this character. Like he feels like he is Drax, and it is perfect. It is a very good character. Baby Groot was adorable. Like at one point, even on the thing, like they say, "Well, boss, what about him? Oh, leave him be. He's too cute to be left or to kill." So they just make him the Ravengers mascot. Sorry, there's a fly on my. Yeah, they just made him the Ravengers mascot and gave him. That's why he has the Ravenger outfit. Yondu's assistant, that was another good character. Very much like he was like it's funny like at this point you could pretty much consider them Peter and Yondu's Yondu's first mate, like they're brothers essentially, because they both have this they both in different ways respect the hell out of Yondu, especially in the end, and like they were raised together, so they know each other. So they it was very clear that when in the movie Yondu's the crew mutinies against Yondu, he's the only one that doesn't. Like he acts like he does, but right after that he turns on and is like, "Oh yeah, I didn't want to say anything, but I'm not against you," which was great. Like everything in the end, I'll just talk about the end because there's really nothing else to talk about. The climax of the movie was fantastic. You have the Guardians versus Ego, who throughout his travels, throughout the millions of years he has been alive, or the thousands of years he's been traveling at least, he's deliberately planted seeds of himself, literal seeds, across all the planets so he could start his mission to become everything. And his main purpose right now is to get those seeds everywhere. So he actually, with Peter's help, he activates the seeds, and you see a bunch of random planets. You see a Novacore planet being absorbed. You see another random planet that I think they show 200 or 300 random planets, and then they show Earth. And this, I bet you, this is gonna play a huge factor in whatever movie comes after this, that is set after this. It probably won't play it probably won't play that much of a factor in Thor Ragnarok, I'm assuming. They may touch upon it at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, but I doubt it, because since it's not a direct Marvel cinematic movie. We don't know when it. I'm guessing if they do cover it, it might be covered at the Avengers movie, or like I said, it might cover it at Spider-Man. We don't know, but it's the fact that there is now a giant, essentially a new mountain of alien substance on Earth I feel that that's how the Guardians are going to be brought in, or that Tony and Cap are gonna they're gonna be wondering what the hell's going on after this. Like it's something to be or to watch for. Like, and now they have officially saved the galaxy twice. Maybe and they are like they're as Rocket puts it. Yeah, now we're two times Guardian Savers. Our price is gonna double now. The they like Peter, after learning that his father actually gave his mother the brain tumor that killed her, and justifiably holding that against him, he goes to war with his father, and he ends up using his powers to kill his father, as well as the bomb that everyone saw in the trailer that they have, or since he's small enough, they have Groot put on the core of Yondu's planet, which just so happens to be Yondu's brain. Like, they actually put, like, or not Yondu, Ego. They put on the core of Ego's planet, which is his brain. They put the core, or they put the bomb right at the core, which destroys Ego, but it also cuts ties of Peter's power, or newly found abilities were tied into the planet. So the planet is destroyed. He's now dead, or his godly side is dead, or interstellar, I guess, whatever it's called, is like it's dormant. I have a feeling we might see it again to some lesser extent. Like, he won't have all the powers of his dad, but he might have, like, that just doesn't go, or like, since he was a part of the planet, maybe he might gain it back over the course of the next few movies with some study and all that. We don't know. I really don't care if he does or not. It was a cool one-shot thing. I like Star-Lord being more I'm the guy, or I'm just a guy who's good at shooting type thing. In the battle, like at the end of the battle, Yondu saves Peter, but unfortunately Rocket only had one space shield to keep either Yondu or Peter safe. They thought Peter was going to die, so he's like, Yondu, do what you need to do, and then get the hell out of here. Yondu dies, and the Ravengers, again led by Sylvester Stallone, hear about what he did and how he saved virtually everybody, and that is what gives him his redemption in their eyes. Like, they give him basically a hero's funeral, very Search for Spock type or caliber stuff, where they fire him through the exhaust, or through the rocket of the ship they're in, and the Ravengers shoot off fireworks, give him if you want to see one of the most beautiful scenes in any Marvel movie, this is it. This ending funeral scene is done so good. It is everything you would kind of want in a funeral scene for a superhero, essentially. The first, or basically, Peter gets Yondu's ship, and the first mate gets Yondu's arrow, and the headpiece to actually use the arrow. So, it was actually really good. A good way to set things, like continue the legacy of the character and all that. And the funny thing was that, like, as soon as, like, after the funeral's over, like, they're going about their basic stuff again, you see Stallone with the theory I've heard is that these are the original Guardians, like the original guy group that call themselves the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's this group, and they're like, let's go steal a bunch of shit. I can't do Stallone. Anyway, like he gets them all together. He's like, it took Yondu's death to get us all back together. I missed you guys. Let's go steal some shit. And they're all like, yeah. Peter is the captain of the ship. I believe, or Mathis Mathis is now a part of the crew, and I gotta look up his name later, but Yondu's first mate is practicing with the arrow, trying to learn how Yondu did it, and he accidentally shoots Drax in the chest, or shoots Drax, and the funny that was one of the end scenes that they saw. Like there was like 5. The first one was basically what happened after. The third one is I think the third or the fourth one is my favorite. It is the Stan Lee cameo this time, and it's pretty much confirming that he is they are saying that he is a Watcher, because we see him once before in the movie proper, and he's talking to a bunch of Watchers, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there was one time I was a FedEx guy, and there was another time, right before that I was a general in the army, and that before that." And I'm like, "Oh God, they're tying everything together." Like it would have been amazing if one of the scenes was, "Oh yeah, like I was on a bus, and all of a sudden I look out my window, and it looks like Inception out there." It was surreal as hell, but I decided just to keep reading my book I was reading because it was kind of fun. Like at the end of it, like he's run out of stories to tell, and they're like, and they like the Watchers start walking away, and he's like, "Wait, where are you going? You're my ride. Hey, come on! I told you all the stories. Come on." Which, if they made that like this is the final Stan Lee cameo, like in continuity, this is the final Stan Lee cameo because I believe he's filmed up to Infinity War. It'll be a great way for them to pay tribute to Stan. Like it's funny, but it's also kind of like, okay, this is his logical end. This scene takes place after everything goes down. Somehow. We don't know. The final scene is the queen of, again, whatever, or of the gold skin or beings. Like, they were trying to get their batteries back. They hired Yondu and stuff, or his gang to get it, or to get the Guardians for stealing the batteries. They are blaming the Queen for the failure of everyone else involved. And she's like, "Oh yeah, it's okay. I know something that they'll do. Like I know how they'll forgive me." And everyone's like, or the lady with them is like, "What do you mean?" "Well, see, I created something. I created the next stage of our evolution. I called him Adam. Adam looks like she created a Ultron-esque type of creature, and it's at this point it's extremely hard to tell if it's gonna be a good guy, a bad guy, if it's gonna be what's happening, what's going on. It's extremely hard to tell. And yeah, I am excited for what they do with Volume 3. There's the funny thing is that he went from 8 tracks to a Zune. Yes, you heard me right. It was a Zune. He's like, or they gave him at the end of the movie. He's giving it this track, and he's like, "Yeah, listen, check this out. This is what the Earthlings listen to. It's called a Zune. It has 300 songs on it." And Peter's, of course, like, 300? Really? like he's excited, and I'm like, oh god, those are probably all from those are probably there's some '80s songs in there too because I know a single person that in my circle at least that doesn't have at least one or two '80s songs they love, but there's probably a lot of '90s songs, and he's gonna I would love it, and I would absolutely adore it if at the beginning of Guardians 3 or when he shows up in the Infinity Wars, he's jamming out to the Backstreet Boys or something like that. He's jamming out to a '90s pop group, and he's just there like yeah. Like that would be amazing. I oh shit! I just realized I've been going on for 30 minutes. So I'll just wrap this up here. I love the movie. I think so far this is my favorite of. I guess we're in phase 4. This is a good way to start the saga directly leading up to Infinity Wars. I cannot wait for Thor Ragnarok. I think that one's next. It's either that one or Spider-Man. I can't wait for either. Like both of these movies they're going to be amazing. And they're both going to be very key components in whatever the hell Marvel is planning right now. So again, I'll say watch it. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. It is worth the price of admission by the halfway point actually. Like we all left the theater completely satisfied with watching it. And one final thing you can do at the credits, there is actually a fun little game you can play. Count the I am Groots. Like the last movie, every so often you'll see a credit go up on the screen. Instead of saying the name, it's I am Groot, and then it'll figure and be the name. So actually try I think we got to there was 9 or 10 I am Groots in the credits. So go ahead and watch and see because this movie is fun from beginning to end. You'll enjoy it. I almost guarantee it. So, yeah, that is it. This has been Dilemma 13. I apologize again for there not being a raw video, but I'll probably watch it tomorrow, after or when I get up, and I'll probably do a review then. If not, this has been Dilemma 13. Peace.